Lewis.
Yeah, what's been going off?
Oh, I need some coffee here. So that cold brew coffee, get my kick on.
Bulletproof.
Oh, no, it's I don't know, fireproof.
Yeah, tell me what's been going off over there. It sounds pretty bad.
It's just a bunch of. We got really bad winds, so they're like 45 mile per hour winds,
Yeah,
and that just down power lines, and then the
right.
power lines, started a bunch of fires, and the winds just basically made them go crazy.
Oh, crap. All right, so for anyone that's watching, me and Luke are doing an impromptu live talk. We haven't really done much marketing on this, so hopefully we've got enough subscribers now for people to see us. So if you got any questions, ask them. If not, we're probably going to chat for a little bit.
Like that.
Let me find a link to this.
Where are you posting the
So
link?
yeah, sounds pretty bad. You are?
Are you posting the link?
I'm trying to find the link now. Do you have the link?
Go up top to invite people. Oh, here, never. I have the link.
So professional.
It's on Messenger.
Oh no, the actual video link. You sent me the link to the podcast, yeah?
Oh, I got you. Here, let's see.
Sorry guys, if you're watching, start asking questions and they'll start popping up.
But yeah, this fire's been crazy. It's not as bad where I live compared to
Yeah.
some other places. Like
All right. So the main reason's not because it's too hot in California. The reason's because there's been high winds and power lines have been blowing down.
yeah, and then it's dry because we haven't gotten any rain yet. So it's all those factors combined.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's just created like a shit storm. Let's see here.
So 2 minutes.
Is anyone watching at the moment?
Two viewers.
Two viewers. Okay.
So let me just
All right, I have the
check.
link.
Hold on. All right, send it to you on Facebook.
You have the link?
No. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's on Messenger.
Wicked. Yeah, usually people pop up. I was speaking last time and I was doing it on my phone. I didn't realize I was doing a live recording and I got little messages popping up on my phone. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
When do you think you're gonna be? When do you think you're gonna be able to move back in then?
It won't be a couple days.
Yeah, at least a couple of days.
Yeah, at least a couple days.
All right. How bad is it? Are we talking like massive wildfires or?
The one that's like 45 minutes from me, that they're all around me basically. The one
Yeah.
that was closest to me was about 900 acres.
Yeah.
There's one about 45 minutes from me. That's 12,000 acres.
Right.
And then the one in Santa Rosa is like I don't know. It's like 20,000 acres or something.
Shit, man, sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, the one in Santa Rosa is the worst. It burnt. It went through downtown and just burned up the whole town.
Oh, so people are chatting. Is everything good? Can everyone hear us all right?
Yeah, it seems better now.
Yeah, we had a bit of technical difficulties. What have you been up to, man? Enlighten me. What's going off in the cryptosphere?
I got some. I got some salt tokens.
Yeah, me too.
How many did you get?
55.
Nice. That's all you should need.
Nice. Well, I thought to take out 100 grand loan, they would probably ask you to have more tokens than
Then
30.
yeah, all you need is 10.
10. But it's 10 per year, yeah?
Yeah, 10 per year. So 50 you'll be fine with 50.
Yeah, but that means I've got to pay back 100 grand plus interest over 5 years.
Well, you can always buy more tokens.
So how will you be paying this money back? Through your income that comes to you outside of Bitcoin?
Yeah, you can pay for it however you want.
I'm just thinking because, I can't really afford to pay off a loan at the moment.
I don't know. Yeah, it just depends. Yeah, you can do like a $10,000 loan or 100,000 or for me, I think that you'll be able to pay the interest just from the passive income of some of these tokens. Like Populous, OMG, and Very. Like those three, you'll be able to just pay the interest just from the passive income.
Yeah, you'll be able to pay the interest. I mean, the interest's not going to be a problem. But if you've got 100 grand loan, and let's say, just for argument's sake, you've got to pay back 110 grand, you're going to have to pay them like 5 grand a month.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on the terms
I mean,
of the loan.
nobody can afford that.
I mean, it depends on the terms of the loan.
Yeah, but I would assume that that's going to be the only way to do it. It's you're not going to be talking. It's not going to be £500 a month. I mean, that's a big loan to pay off, but they're definitely not going to be asking for £500 a month to pay off an 100 grand loan.
Well, if it's long enough term, I mean, I don't know. I have to see what the kind of because you can work out the terms of the loan, and so I'm gonna have to look at the terms of the loans.
Mm. Yeah, some people are saying that they can't hear us, but I think that's probably an issue with their computer because I think everything's fine. Yeah, Paul is saying it's fine. Do you have any questions so far? I don't think so.
But yeah,
so we'll have to see. We'll have to check it out because I would assume that they're going to have the platform set up, early 2018, and
it should be. No, the platform they said should be live like Q4, so it should be like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. The only thing that worries me is in terms of the loan, and even if I think for the amount that they're probably going to ask for, it might be a bit difficult, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and then you can always just sell off bits of your crypto to pay the payments if you have to.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it'll still be worth it.
Cool. Coolio, man. All right. So how long you been at your girlfriend's for then?
The last like 3 days.
Yeah. All good?
Yeah.
Can you still do the program there?
What's that?
Can you do the program all right at her house?
Yeah, like halfway.
Yeah. These things happen in life, I suppose, I think that's one issue I had when I was on the program. I thought, if I just do the program, everything's going to be fine. And then you don't realize that life is still going to get in the way one way or another. So there's times when you just got to not do it as much. That's just how life presents itself.
Well, then it's crazy. Just like if I sit there and meditate a lot, my tongue will go to the roof of my mouth, and they'll be like popping and cracking. as it like tries to like make my neck lengthen.
Tell me about it. I'm the same. It's bizarre because I bought that Styrector. I've not been wearing it 100% because I don't know. It don't feel right. But the idea is that it like, you know how it works. So it kind of makes the jaw, the teeth, like quite solid in place.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you found the same thing, but when I push down, what happens is that my teeth will kind of come together and they'll join. And because the energy moves in like the microcosmic orbit, so you've
Right.
got the energy is coming down the face and like back up the neck. You get this kind of natural lever that what this
Exactly.
director does,
Yeah, it's
and
trippy.
it's like so the front of the teeth is kind of pushing down, and the bottom jaw is kind of pulling backwards and creating these pressure points on the teeth, and then the back of the neck extends just from doing the pushing down exercise. And I think like you could probably, I think it's doing what Styrector's trying to do. You know how the jaw should probably be if we was not as domesticated as what we are now.
Yeah, then I retrace like layers of infection in my sinuses from it
Yeah,
healing.
yeah, yeah.
Like I get
No,
like
no, yeah,
pressure. I get like pressure deep in my sinuses from like the lever action.
yeah. Same here. It's crazy. It's bizarre. So one guy's asked us a question. Can I ask you a question about nutritional balancing? Yes, that's the whole point. We're doing this
Yeah,
live podcast.
yeah. Go ahead, bro.
But now there's a question here. Have you guys tried Dr. Wilson's down sex? I have.
Yes,
Have
I
you?
have. Yeah.
Any good?
Um, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be as powerful for me as he describes it. Um, it's kind of difficult to find a good position too, because I don't know. Like I can't, because you can't like the easiest way to do the meditation is like if you're on your back, right, with your feet and your back straight. But obviously, if you're doing that, you both can't be in that position. Um, I find that the best way is either like if she's laying in front of you, and so you're both like parallel to each other, and then you're like from behind. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like so she's laying down.
Yeah, and then you're behind her, like and you're both on your side, and you're facing her butt. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
right, okay. Like spooning.
Yeah, like spooning, but it's actually like yeah, but it's inserted.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to go. Or you do I don't know what you call it, where she's like sitting, she's like on your lap facing you.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
was that reverse cowgirl?
If she's facing you, no, that's not reverse cowgirl. That's
That's
just
just cow.
regular.
That's just riding. Yeah, where she's on top. Those two seem
Yeah.
to be the best positions. Moving energy. I don't know if you can comment.
How long did you do it for?
What's that?
How long did you do it for?
I don't know for like a half hour. I haven't done it with my
Yeah.
current girlfriend as much.
Yeah.
I did it with Marina a couple times.
Yeah. I
And
feel like
that was great.
yeah.
What's that?
Every time I've done it, like I feel like I can feel some traumas coming up from the women.
Yeah, dude, it's hard. It's
That
like
they're not expecting because you're just holding the space so intensely that I can feel that there's traumas there that they're trying to hold back a little bit, you know.
yeah,
So
it's hardest.
you got to kind of hold that space a little bit for them.
Yeah, in my
Um,
experience, it causes a lot more healing reactions in the women. It's almost like the penis is like it's like sucking out bad energy. You can almost feel it like sucking out stuff from that area in them.
yeah.
It just brings up stuff. So, dudes, if
So
you're watching this, maybe you just want to take it easy with it. Don't want to go too much at one time, and be prepared that most women it's going to bring up issues. You know what I mean?
mm, mm. Yeah, I think it's a little bit like the Paul and Climber article that Dr. Wilson talks about. So I think the guy in them situations kind of holds steady and still, like a pole, like a concrete block, and the woman kind of has a safe pole to kind of cling onto, and that allows the traumas to stop processing themselves. You know, I know the whole idea that women's chakras and stuff kind of surround the guy, and they're a little bit more open and more emotional, whereas a guy's not as emotional as a woman when they're having intercourse and as close and stuff. I'm not saying they're not; they definitely are, but you know that allows a man to be quite stable and grounded. I've also felt that myself. Um, And I suppose you also have that duty of giving that masculine energy to a woman when you're having sex, because she wants to feel safe and whatnot. So for me, as a man, I try and emit that energy anyway. But yeah, I've done it a couple of times. I think it's difficult. I think maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm no expert, but I think maybe it would be a better idea not to call it sex, to call it something else, like
Right.
downwards penetration exercise or something like that. Because as soon as you see the word sex, I think it's one of the reasons why you probably changed the meditation exercise to the pushing down exercise, because people also already have ideas about what certain words mean.
Right.
So it's definitely not like sex as many Westerners know it to be, if you know what I mean. I think if it was called the downwards penetration exercise, then you would approach it differently. And I think you need to approach it differently because, yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me. But when I was lying down, I thought it was quite fine. But but you know, it depends on, because if you got a body on top of you, you know, there's weight involved. So if they're relaxing on your chest, you're struggling to breathe and whatnot. But
Yeah, it's kind of difficult maneuver.
yeah, it is quite tricky. I think I can understand the I can I understand the benefits. I really understand the benefits for people that might be a little bit older, that probably don't have as much sex. Do you know what I mean? Because that I can really see how that can bring a couple together. But it does take some practice, and I think both of the people as well need to understand the pushing down exercise quite well. Because if one person understands it and the other person doesn't, there's a slight awkwardness there, where the other person's like, "What are we doing?" You know.
Right.
So I think they've probably got to do the pushing down exercise by themselves for a few months to kind of realize, oh crap, yeah, I understand why I'm doing it now. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So
And it could be good maybe to do it like for intervals, and then for the most part, I seem to enjoy where I just lay down beside her and do it and like just do the blending exercise. I guess it's
yeah,
not as powerful. Dr. Wilson says it's not as powerful, but it's easier.
mm, mm. But I'll tell you now, for all the guys watching and the girls, you'll not heal very quick if you're losing a lot of fluids. It was a big stumbling block for me. You know, got to a point where I had to stop losing and masturbating as much as what I used to do, because it really holds you back. And you know, even you know, I know Dr. Wilson says once a week, but I wouldn't even say once a week. I would say once a month max. You know, especially when you're healing. You know, and when you do build up that sexual energy, a lot of guys don't know what to do with it because they've built it up. They've built it up for so much. Like, so I'll give anyone some advice: if you've got a lot of sexual energy because you've not been losing your fluids for a while, and you've been following the program well, like use that energy as leverage to do something creative, because it's a very creative energy, the sexual energy, you know. So use it to do a project, or use it to do some good or be of service, you know, because it gives you a lot of vitality if you've
Yeah.
got that energy. It's so powerful.
And you have to
It's
realize
really
it's something
nice.
you learn to appreciate. It's just like, like people don't like to eat vegetables, right? Well, eventually on the program, if you do the program for long enough, you'll begin to not feel as well if you don't eat vegetables because you're just so used to eating vegetables and being better nourished. It's the same thing with the
Mm.
sexual energy. Like now, I actually don't like losing fluid, and because I feel
Now,
it,
I hate it.
and usually when I'm having sex with my girlfriend, I don't I don't get off because I actually hold it back. You know, I'm fine if like she gets off or whatever, but I actually don't because it's you come to realize it's almost like the orgasm is like 15 seconds, and you begin to learn like that 15 seconds is not worth the buildup of
Fif-
the energy that
15
you feel.
seconds?
Or not 15
Bloody
seconds,
hell.
however long. Well, it's kind
Well,
of.
like, well, like
It's a
five.
couple seconds, but you kind of feel it, the effects, afterwards. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's a matter of seconds. My point is, it's a matter of seconds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And you
Yeah,
begin
it's not
to
worth it.
feel it energetically that 15 seconds is, or however many seconds is not worth that energy inside of you. You know what I mean?
15, like, well, let's drop it down a little bit.
Okay,
Five
5 seconds.
seconds,
Fine.
5 seconds for, up to a week of feeling down is not
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah,
It's just not
yeah.
worth it.
It's not. It's
And
not.
and if you hold on to that sexual energy, like, your relationships will be so much more, because you'll feel so much more stronger, so much more masculine, like, and the woman can feel that energy. Do you know what I mean? And she enjoys that. Like, she gets like energy off that herself. You can use it for your sexual energy, creative endeavors. You can use it in friendship groups. You can use it for projects. Like, it's a great energy to keep. I'm not saying I keep it all the time. Definitely not. There are times when I've held on to it for a while, and I will have sex and lose it. And because of my health now, it doesn't affect me too much. Yeah, I'll feel it a little bit, but
Right.
sometimes the energy just gets so much, and you feel so connected, and you love your partner so much that it's just like, right, I'm going to do it. And it's, don't worry about it. I probably do it once a month, sometimes twice a month now. But especially when you're healing, it's probably not a good idea to do it so much.
Yeah, and you
So
kind of learn how to recoup it faster. Like I'll eat more red meat for a couple days, and I can recoup it pretty quickly.
yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, cool. We got another question. Keep the questions coming, people. There's not actually many people watching.
So yeah, I
Uh,
saw a question about do you feel extremely quick oxidizers can detox metals that well? Um, I mean, fast oxidizers, yeah, of course they can eliminate metals. The problem with fast oxidizers is that they don't want to slow down because it feels terrible to them. If you're a really fast oxidizer and you've been that way for a while, slowing down on the program feels awful to you. And it feels like you're exhausted all the time and you think the program is making you worse. So the biggest thing with fast oxidizers that are that fast is you have to just stop running away from whatever you're running away from, and you have to learn how to rest, um, or else you'll never heal. And so that's the problem with fast oxidizers. Usually, really fast oxidizers won't eliminate metals until they'll flip into slow, and then they'll start eliminating who. Let me see who asked that. Music. I'm wondering how old you are, music. If you're a young guy, you're probably healthier. Your body's probably fairly healthy. Once you start to heal and slow down on the program, you'll probably eliminate metals pretty quickly because your body's still resilient. Um, and
yeah, I find a
everything
lot
is
of fast
different.
oxy.
Everything is kind of
Exactly.
different for people. Like me and Lewis were already in burnout, but that gave us certain mental advantages because we learned how to slow down and use like our brains. Fast oxidizers, like especially men, they usually have healthier bodies, but a lot of times their souls aren't as developed as like slow oxidizer men, and so they just have to learn to like let go of the ego life a little bit more and learn to slow down. And a lot of times their bodies, like I know it's like a fast oxidizer type men, like they're not as like you can see like when I talk, right, like my jaw's kind of crooked and stuff, like their body, like they usually have like stronger chins and like they have good muscle tone, and they're usually like more chiseled faces and less fat on the body, and so they look healthier usually, and their bodies are more aligned and like structurally, but they struggle with like they're more like bros kind of, you know what I mean, and so they kind of live like an ego life where they don't really learn to appreciate or learn about like deeper meanings in life or understand like a lot of other aspects of life. So it's just like a different thing, right? We all struggle with certain things. So fast oxidizers have to learn how to slow down and learn how to use their brains better and not be so. A lot of fast oxidizers, their life is they're basically led around by their penis. I've noticed, and a lot of times with fast oxidizer men,
That's true.
instead of being God-centered beings, they're women-centered beings. So I've been around fast oxidizer men. They're addicted to women. So their thoughts, their mind's never clear because it's always filled with women. Or if they see a pretty girl walk by in a skirt, their whole attention is immediately turned to that girl, and they're addicted to it. You know what I mean? Even though they're healthy and they have energy and stuff like that, a lot of times they can struggle finding success and stuff just because it's just their life is just it's just more of a day-to-day sort of like having fun type of thing,
Which has its benefits, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, one, you know, the benefits of being a fast oxidizer is that they're a much more extrovert, and a lot of slow oxidizers need a little bit of that balance, you know. For years, you know, slow oxidizers are just inside their head all the time, and it can get so chronically inside their head that they become so individualized and just so isolated because they're just literally like, you know, a head walking around, and the body's just like an appendage. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, being an extrovert sometimes is a little bit nice because it kind of teaches slow oxidizers just sometimes to live in the moment and to be around people and not think about things too much, you know, and be quite present. And you know, that's kind of what we aim to do in nutritional balancing. You got to realize that probably the best oxidation to be is just like slightly slow. So if you look at like a dog or a lion or any animal for that matter, their lives are pretty relaxed. So you'd say that's a mild slow. But as soon as there's an event or there's some danger or there's, you know, they were playing, then the body will switch into fast and they'll become this kind of extrovert where they're in the present quite a lot and they're just like dynamic and speaking to friends and doing a bit of partying, being in danger. And then as soon as the danger or the party or the event's finished, they'll switch back into mild slow. They'll become a bit of an introvert and, you know, chill out and get inside themselves, you know. So if you're chronically slow, then you're chronically kind of inside yourself. And that can be good in the beginning of the program because it allows you to kind of slow down and figure out who you are and what life's all about and what the nutritional balancing program's about. And then if you're chronically fast, like Luke said, you're just living day to day in the moment, you know, high sexual energy, you know, short-term pleasures, you know, kind of thing. So it's interesting to see the dynamic because, you know, I've never really been a true fast oxidizer.
Me neither. I honestly don't really know what it's like.
I have friends that are in that position and you can tell like straight away, you know, exactly the same as you mentioned. And I hate being in fast oxidation. I've been in there a couple of times. It's really anxiety producing for me personally. I couldn't handle it very well.
I've never been in fast oxidation. I'm too sick.
I don't know. I don't know whether you were as sick as me a few years ago, but anyway, I really hated fast oxidation. It's the worst, man. You feel like a Lamborghini in the fast lane of a highway. You know, everyone else is going slow around you, and you're just like constantly just like, whoa, what am I gonna do? And your sexual energy is just really up as well, and you can lose a lot of fluid and be okay. You know, that's one thing I was quite shocked about. You know, but slow oxidation's far much better, especially for sleep as well.
Yeah, and you know, so fast oxidizers have a hard time like making slow and steady progress in life. You know what I mean? Fast oxidizers will put a lot of hard work into something, but then they'll lose it all gambling or make a bad mistake with their financial life. You know what I mean?
Yep,
You
exactly.
know, slow and steady wins the race, and this is true in all aspects of life. And sometimes fast oxidizers have a hard time seeing the big picture.
That's it. That's it. All right, next question. Do you guys think that Lyme itself is a major issue? Lewis, you work out a lot in the woods and nature. Do you come across ticks at all, or are you confident that your body is strong enough now to fight off the infection since you've been on the program for so long? Thanks, dudes. Lyme disease. Lyme disease. I mean, it gets thrown around a lot on the internet. You know, everyone kind of blames everything on Lyme's disease. It's an interesting disease. I mean, the nutritional balancing is set up in such a way that we just expect, or we expect that someone's got a little bit of Lyme disease from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I actually don't work in areas that have got a lot of ticks in. However, I don't worry about Lyme disease. I've never worried about Lyme disease. I've probably had Lyme disease, but even if I had it, my program wouldn't change anyway. I'd still do the same things, I'd still do the sauna therapy, you know. So that's the reason why I don't worry about it, because I know the program's going to deal with it, and you can't live your life like, it's good to be wise and to be safe and to check things out, but you can't live your life in a plastic casing, So I don't particularly worry about it too much. But when any client comes to me with Lyme's disease, say they got Lyme's disease, I just assume most people have got Lyme's disease anyway, because it's really a really yin condition. But if they come to me and say I've got Lyme's disease, I wouldn't treat them any differently to somebody else who hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Because it'd be the same process for me anyway.
Yeah, I don't personally worry about it. Even if I got bit by a tick and I thought I had Lyme, I would refuse antibiotics and I would literally just use the sauna. I would just be really diligent about my sauna usage for like a week, and I think my body would fight it off with the program. So I mean, I live in a place where there are a lot of ticks. I live in a wooded Northern California type area where there's a lot of pine trees and ticks and deer and stuff like that. But I don't really worry about it. No.
Well, that's answered the question. Music again is just saying is slow. Find it really difficult to slow down, even with dietary interventions and lots of supplements.
You have to push down. I think that you have a trauma that you're running away from, and you have to push down. I think music has like some sort of
a lot
trauma.
of fast oxidizers has a trauma. In fact, most of them that I've come across have some sort of trauma that they don't want to deal with.
Yeah, that isn't. And by trauma, you guys, we don't mean necessarily like music. I don't necessarily mean that you were raped or beaten or something like that. I just mean like, it can be things that sometimes people think are like really minor, but they're still like a trauma. Like it could be like, and when you were really young with your parents, like they didn't beat you or something, but like just some sort of trauma, like they like your parents fighting, or like they
it could be something to do with slowing down. So every time you sat on the sofa to watch TV, if your dad said to you, "Get up, you're being lazy," and you got up out of fear, that's a trauma.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's a traumatic thing for a child, because the child hasn't got reasoning skills like what we have as adults. So that would manifest itself as a trauma. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people are like that. In fact, a lot of people get into, fast oxidation because they've been brought up that not to be lazy through parents and stuff, and they'll switch into fast. But because the diets are so bad and people are so sick, they'll end up burning completely out, and they'll just go into slow because the body can't even be in fast anymore. I mean, that was a big thing for me. I got taught that slowing down was lazy and that I had to be productive all the time. And especially being a high achiever, I always felt that if I wasn't doing something, I wasn't achieving, and therefore I wasn't getting recognition from my peers. So slowing down for me was an absolute nightmare. I mean, I was in slow oxidation when I first started, but I was in sympathetic dominance. So I still had to learn how to slow down mentally. Do you know what I mean? This can happen in
Right.
slow oxidizers as well. You know, not just fast oxidizers. A lot of slow oxidizers have to slow down a lot of the time because they burned out of fast. So they're in a really unhealthy state of, where the sympathetic node is just chronically switched on. And I remember that was a big thing for me when I first started slowing down. It took me a good few months in the beginning to do that. And it was traumatic, to realize that as a 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid at university, that all of a sudden I'm going to have to slow down. It was like, whoa, crazy.
Right, and you'll realize that working all the time and being busy all the time actually doesn't have as nearly as much to do with success as you think it does. Um, I work less than I ever have right now, as far as like physical hours. You know what I mean? And
But what is success? Answer that question. What is success?
right, yeah. It's so
It's
people. So you don't have to be working or be busy all the time. Wearing out your mind and body to achieve something. Because then I meet a lot of people that work. They're always busy, like 12-hour days. These are people like work with their hands, like they might be like people often like I see like people that work trades, for example, if they're like welders or mechanics or stuff. People that are good with like men that are good with their hands. They'll work themselves to exhaustion, and then they're just then they're prone to mistakes because you basically wear yourself out to the point where you fall asleep uh, behind the car, behind the wheel, and you crash your car, or you're just so revved up all the time, you have to go drink alcohol, and then and you end up doing something stupid just because you're just constantly in fight or flight. So you're prone to mistakes. Um, life is like about life is
a box of chocolates.
Life is a very small. It's all about small decisions every single moment that add up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, success is a really interesting word because success these days is a career, is money, is a long career that you work in 9 to 5, is a lot of peer recognition, is materialistic wealth, you know. And how new is this? This is a very new idea of success, So human beings that in reality know very little about the truth, about reality. Look at the world around us. We're not really looking after it too well, so we don't know that much. So human beings have created this concept that apparently is successful, whereby the universe and nature around us has been developing for millions and millions of years, creating all these extremely complex systems, and all of a sudden we've created this very superficial idea called success that people, if you're successful, then you'll be happy. It's like, nah, man. To be successful in life is about reclaiming the truth. That's success. Do you know what I mean? These days, it's about seeking the truth, finding the truth, living by the truth. That's success in life because the only real thing that we're here to do is to love each other and to love one another and to love our friends and the earth. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. We're far from that. But that's success if you can live your life in like that and for the truth, in my opinion.
right.
That's true success.
And music, you really need the pushing down exercise. You need to make an emphasis of that because only through the pushing down exercise will you be able to get in touch with your deeper self and know what you're running away from, and be able to slow down your
Exactly.
mind and body enough to discover what you are running away from.
True. Cool. Do you want me to read another question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is Dr. Wilson training anyone for the future to take his place? Also, why did he downgrade his practitioners to helpers? I noticed several of his practitioners left before this.
My feeling, my intuition is that he calls them helpers because that's what the guides wanted to call them.
Well, you got to look at it this way. I don't think it's a downgrade. I think only people think that's a downgraded term because of the civilization that we live in at the moment. So we put the idea of doctor, practitioner, professor, scientist, we put them on some sort of pedestal whereby, and we put a barrier between them. Did you understand what I mean? Whereby there's this higher person who's going to help this lower person, or is going to give advice or tell this lower person, and this lower person is somehow less than this higher person. And I think that practitioner is actually in that level somewhere, not as much as doctor or professor or something like that. But if you're a helper, to me, that removes the barriers a little bit. Do you understand what I mean? So if you're a helper, it's like you're friends with these people. It's a friendship. Do you understand what I mean? That's what I think personally.
I personally like the word helper more because the word helper, it feels very gentle to me. Like a helper, like a helping hand. When I think of helper, I think of like the Virgin Mary, like bending down to pick up like an orphan child or something. Like it's someone who's here to help you and comfort you with like gentle strength.
But also, I think what's good about the word helper is it implies that practitioners are not there to fix the person. They're there to
Right.
help and to guide. Like we can never fix a person. And I think a lot of clients come to me and you and other practitioners thinking that it's our duty to fix another person because they're living in a victim mentality. And that's not the case. I'm not here to fix anyone. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to help people, but you can only lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. Do you understand what I mean? And that's something that really clients, I don't like calling them clients. The people that I help need to deeply realize that it's you that's going to heal yourself. Do you understand what I mean? I'm not going to heal you. Luke's not going to heal you. Dr. Wilson's not going to heal you. We're just helpers, you know. And I think sometimes having that status of practitioner or doctor or scientist, you know, kind of breeds that victim mentality of I feel sorry for myself, so I'm going to get these, you know, hire people with these false statuses that society have put up for us to fix me. That's not really the case. So,
Right. As
so
far as
why?
as far
So
as him
why?
train,
We've got a. So why do you refer to yourselves as practitioners? Because unfortunately, the world that we live in respond to that word. So I see myself like a bridge, and I'm on this island, and a lot of the people are in that city, and I'm like a bridge. So I have to say certain things, and you know, be a certain way, and act a certain way to kind of get them people over to this side. Once I've get them over to this side, then I feel like they're much more open for me to talk about things like I'm a helper, or talk about chakras, or talk about energy, or spirituality, or God, or anything like that. That's my personal opinion. If someone come to me in the street and we was having a serious conversation about health and stuff, and they asked me, "Well, who are you?" I wouldn't say I'm a helper because that would just be weird to them. Do you know what I mean? Why would I? There's no point in me doing that because they're so far removed from that word that it's difficult. And at least on Dr. Wilson's website, he's got a full article, and you know a lot of people are reading around. So a lot of people that come to us are already somewhat open to the word. But yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from, though.
right, right. Um, yeah, I usually still call myself a practitioner, but they're just words, you guys.
Exactly. Um, do you think it's just a matter of we're so sick today in general? That is why we think success and stuff is so important.
Well, it is a balance, you know. Although success has different terms for different people, and sometimes people can think of success in material terms. That doesn't mean you should be lazy and not be of service to people. And Like I notice a lot of people in my generation are afraid of money, and you shouldn't be afraid of money. You should use money as a tool, and you should be a steward of your wealth, because if you're a steward of your wealth and your career and everything, that means you can help more people, because it's ability to do more work in this life, right? And so life is all about balance. So we're not saying, it's important to keep that in perspective, that doesn't mean, because a lot of people think that way too. Like a lot of people in the counterculture, especially where I live, there's a lot of hippies and counterculture people that kind of live like that. But that's also not truth, where you're just destroying your mind with mind altering drugs, and you spend all your money going to festivals, and you never focus on yourself and your career. And that's not living the truth either. And so you have to realize that too. And that's not being of service. And that's not helping anyone, and you're actually being selfish when you live like that. You're being selfish. And so by all means, don't realize that it's not completely the other way. Life is about balance.
And it's really important to be fully aware, because the world is set up to teach you truth. So if you want to kind of do something, go and do it, right? But be aware, and when the truth hits back at you, deal with it, and realize the lesson that you got from it. Do you know what I mean? So if you go out and drink ayahuasca, if you want to go out and drink ayahuasca, go and do it, but be aware of the consequences, because it'll come back to you, and you'll have to deal with that. So if it comes back and you realize that you're ungrounded, or you've had a negative thing, or it's made you more confused about life, then is that the truth that you should be doing at the moment? Maybe not. So let's reevaluate, rather than doing it again and again and again and again. Get yourself into this. Same with fast food. Just be aware. Go and if you want a McDonald's, go and have one, but be aware of how it makes you feel afterwards, and realize that that's not the truth. To how you feel.
Right. And the truth is, you can have it both ways. You can fit plenty of rest and things for time for contemplation into your life, and you can also, be of great service, and work towards helping others as much as possible. And so the goal should be to have it both ways, because you can have it both ways, you guys. You can.
That's it. You got to help yourself first. So important. A lot of people don't help themselves enough, and then they'll try and be of service, and then they'll just get burnt out or depressed, or don't feel fulfilled, because they haven't filled themselves up first. So, and that includes a little bit of selfishness.
Right.
Do you want to read the next one?
Yeah, hold on. Let me go back. All right. Sean Spencer here. I've had constant heart palpitations and muscle spasms for several months. Before I got really sick, I would work out. My heart rate would be high, but I wouldn't be breathing. I would have to force myself to breathe as if it were working normally.
Oh, I think you missed out a paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to read it all.
Okay.
It's gonna. I've been schedule why. Can sympathetic dominance cause these symptoms? Okay, so Sean is having heart palpitations and muscle spasms and things like that. And before, when he was working out, he wouldn't be breathing. Well, you must have been breathing, or else you would have died. Oh, you have to force yourself to breathe. Okay. It sounds like you were just forcing yourself to tense. And so you're tensing yourself so much that you actually wouldn't be breathing. So that's definitely a sympathetic dominance. It's almost like a four lows type of personality as well, which in and of itself is sympathetic dominance. Four lows is a sympathetic dominance pattern. But yeah, that could definitely cause those symptoms. Heart spasms, muscle spasms for several months. Does anything, well, first find if anything triggers it. And what I mean by that, sometimes things can make that worse. Like, if I drink a lot of caffeine, I'll have heart palpitations, Um, so you need the pushing down exercise because then you can observe what's causing that and you can manage it better. Okay, because it could be, you're getting too up in your head and you're just thinking too much about. You don't even realize it, but you're just thinking about other things way too much, and then you're just building yourself up, and then you're getting heart palpitations and everything. Um, it could partially be structural as well. I would look into getting body work done. You should be doing the spinal twist first of all, and do it deep, like really pop yourself, rub your feet. Okay, you need to rub the sore spots on your feet, and many people overlook this. But I bet you that if you actually were rubbing the sore spots on your feet, it would really help your symptoms. Okay, and you can actually look at a foot reflexology chart, and you can rub those spots, and that would help. Okay, but I would look into getting adjusted by a chiropractor, and then be sure you're rubbing your feet, especially the sore spots. Pop your toes. Don't forget to pop your toes, and do the spinal twist deeply, and do this multiple times a day, including rubbing the feet. And I bet you that you will see improvement in those symptoms. Okay, and you need those, and you need the pushing down exercise.
I think sometimes as well, especially if you start the program. I don't know how long he's been on the program for, but at the end of the day, when people start the program and they've just lived a life that's completely in sympathetic dominance, they have been having the worst diet in the world, they've got so many toxic metals that just by starting the program, you'll get heart palpitations and stuff. Just because of the shock and the heavy metals that are coming out of the system. There's no real special technique apart from just to kind of keep going and keep doing the program. There's nothing wrong. The heart's just under a lot of strain. But yeah, he's saying he hasn't started the program. So yeah, like you say, if you haven't started the program and you're getting heart palpitations, then it's usually always down to low potassium. So, yeah, sympathetic dominance. Because potassium's needed to keep the heart beating regular. So you'll find a lot of people that go into cardiac arrest will get injected with potassium and magnesium and stuff. So you'll probably be down in all your calming minerals, and that causes heart palpitations, along with toxic metals that are just kind of short wire in the system. So definitely get on the program just so you can help with that, because heart palpitations is not a nice feeling, especially when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, and your structure probably needs a lot of work. I can tell you, being in I could be in sympathetic dominance myself, that just straightening out my body has been a huge factor. Just doing the spinal twist every day, popping my toes, rubbing my feet, visiting chiropractors. And it's a long process, you guys. People don't realize it's worth it. Straightening out your body's worth it, but it takes years. And that's just the facts. You can't really speed it up that much.
No.
And you need to do the pushing down exercise too, because that will straighten out your body. As strange as it seems, the pushing down exercise will straighten out your body.
Someone's wrote, has he had any trauma? We just assume that everyone's had kind of traumas. I don't think it causes heart palpitations. I think trauma causes a release of calming minerals like calcium, magnesium, zinc, etc., and that causes the heart palpitations. But yeah, you need to have a look at trauma. But by doing the nutritional balancing program, doing the push down exercise, if it was a trauma, then it's... What's that? Who's laughing?
Oh, that's my sister's boyfriend.
Okay. So yeah, if it is a trauma, if you get on the program will support the body, and when the body's ready, if you do the push it down exercise, when the body's ready, the trauma will come out and release itself. So So yeah, just be aware of that. Cool, man. Well, it's getting late here, and I think we've been on for nearly an hour. So I might have to shoot.
Yeah, it was good talking to you guys. It was good answering your questions. And if you guys want us to answer, if you guys want us to answer any other questions in the next podcast we do, you can just drop them down below onto the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer them.
We'll try and do these more often as well, because they're quite enjoyable. I quite like them. They're quite relaxing as well.
Yeah, they're pretty relaxing. And then if you're in the fires, stay safe. And stay vigilant. It could be trying times sometimes, for sure.
Stay safe. Buy crypto. Do the program. Peace.
Yeah, buy crypto. Do the program. Buy silver too. Silver is incredibly low. Silver, guys.
Cool.
All right.
And love each other.
Yeah, I love each other. I'll catch you guys later.
See you later, guys.